Hello and welcome to November. So we're about a month since I shaved all my hair off, and as you can see it's growing back quite nicely. The Just Giving page will be closing in the next couple of days, so if you did want to make a donation and you haven't yet, the link to that will be down below. If it's already finished by the time you see this, you can make a donation to Macmillan using their website, and I'll also put the link to that below. But back to the crafts, because that's what I'm here for. So the first thing that I'm going to be showing you today is this Granny Hex cardigan. I've made loads of these in the past, but I've not made one with this yarn before. It is the Pebble Haze Prince DK in the colour Siam, which is a really nice colourway. The yarn itself is nice, it's super soft, and if I didn't already have loads of cardigans I would be making more with this yarn, but I don't want to end up with more cardigans than anything else in my wardrobe. So on to things that I have actually made in November, or at least started, is the first thing is a scood, or a scuddy as people are calling it. It's like a scarf and a hood attached to each other. This is made with the same kind of yarn as that cardigan, but in a different colourway. So this one is Alderberg. I'm not 100% happy with how it's turned out, but I haven't really worn it very much because I don't go outside really for long enough to warrant putting something on my head. I tend to be just outside walking to and from the car when going to and from work and that sort of thing. So I've not really worn it very much, but when I made it, my hair was like Velcro, so I couldn't even really try it on. So as the winter goes on and the more I do stuff outside, the more I'll be able to try it and see how it feels and whether I want to do anything different or if it's fine as it is. The next few things are some baby items that I made for a colleague of mine. I didn't share the pictures of these online at the time because I didn't want to spoil the surprise, because we do follow each other on Instagram, so I didn't want her to see them before she received them, but I'm really happy with how they turned out. The cardigan is super cute. So I made this cardigan, I made a little hat, and a little blanket as well. But yeah, I didn't want to make too much stuff because no doubt she will be receiving a lot of things, and if there is anything that she does want, she knows that she can ask me for it, so I'm not going to overburden her with extra baby things that she doesn't need. So the next thing that I have started but I'm not finished with just yet is a floor cushion. So this is what it's looking like at the moment. It's going to be like a cylindrical kind of cushion. It looks a bit like a bag at the moment. I can't get this all in frame anyway. It looks a bit like a bag at the moment, but it is going to be round-ish. You can see I started out with a hexagon at the bottom and now I'm working on up the sides. This is going to be a good one for using up a lot of scraps of material and an old pillow that's falling to pieces, but still the fluff has some life in it yet. But the main thing that I'm going to put in there is a piece of foam, which I haven't purchased yet. I will be doing so after I've made this video. But the reason is that I want it to be quite thick and sturdy, because the idea is that this is going to be for me to put my feet up on, or put one foot up on or whatever while I'm sitting on the sofa. And I know from experience of making other cushions before, if I just put yarn and material scraps in it, they will compress down quite a lot as it gets used, and rather than it getting misshapen, if I've got that sort of solid core of foam in the middle, I can then pack around the outside with those extra bits of yarn and material and things. So it'll still be soft and squishy, but have that sort of sturdiness in the middle without it being hard as well, because I had thought a few different things that I could use. Like I could use wood to make like an internal structure that I could also fill with things, or potentially cardboard, but like cardboard would either be too hard or might crumple again. Like if I'm leaning on it, you know, the weight of my leg, if I push down on it, it might crumple, and I couldn't really come to a conclusion of what I could do. And then I thought, well, what about cushion foam? Is that something that I can purchase in whatever dimensions I want and whatever kind of density and firmness? And yes, I can. There happens to be a website for that very thing, which I found just searching on the internet. So hopefully next month, at the end of December / end of the year, I will be able to show you the finished footstool, with the foam in it and let you know how that went. Then I made a couple of things which I'm not going to show here because they are Christmas gifts for people in my family / friends, but hopefully they will like them. If I remember, I will add them into the December video. And then I made this little hanging pocket thing to hang on my desk. I have a little desk on wheels that I use at my sofa if I'm making something while I'm sat in the living room, or you know, just to put drinks and stuff on, because I don't really have much sort of coffee tablage. You don't need to know the layout of my living room, but I have a little sort of rolly desk which can get quite cluttered with bits and bobs because I use it for my crafting. I've stuck these little command hooks on the side of it, which I can then hang things off, and it's a great way of storing stuff. There are lots of little bits that won't necessarily hang on a hook for whatever reason, but I still want to hang them off the side because it means that there's less clutter on the little desk itself, so if I need to move things about, there's not as much to have to contend with. So I wanted to make this little pouch, and this, I basically made a triangle and then folded the sides in so it has an opening and a place to put stuff in. And I thought I'd made it big enough, but it wasn't really big enough at all. Everything kept falling out of it, and it didn't work as I had wanted it to. So I did make it, and but then I have given up on it. And because that didn't really work out, I made a different one, and this is the one that I'm currently using and is much better. I might make another one that's bigger, that can hold bigger things. At the moment it's got smaller bits and bobs in, but I would like something that can hold slightly bigger things or have a bigger capacity. But for the moment, this is absolutely perfect, and it does mean that my little desk is a lot less cluttered. I find that I feel a lot more comfortable when things are a bit less cluttered, even though I'm not the biggest fan of tidying up myself. The last thing that I started is a load of little pouches which are going to contain the gifts from me to my co-workers for the festive season. I do tend to do this every Christmas, and I find it's a good way of using up the yarn that I may not use up otherwise. Like, I usually make these out of sock weight yarn, although I think I might actually run out of sock weight yarn making these because I'm less than halfway through and I think I've used more yarn than I have left. However, they don't all have to be exactly the same size or the same kind of yarn. Like, all this yarn that's making this footstool, this is all DK yarn, so it's bigger, but I can make the same sort of thing with this yarn. So I will be using up yarn, but maybe a slightly different pattern. These pouches, I have none within arm's reach, so I can't show you, but here's a picture that I put up on Instagram earlier. Basically, I've done a little hexagon for the bottom out of single crochets, and then I've done half double crochets to get the height, and then made 2 chain lengths to go through either side to make a little drawstring, and that's it. They take about an hour per one to make, and they're a good little craft to do when I don't have to think about it too much, although I wish I had started making these earlier because I want to get them finished as fast as possible so I can continue working on the cardigan that I started in October and still haven't finished yet. I do have a slight issue with that cardigan, in fact. I'll just show you it in case you haven't seen it already. So it's made out of these 2 yarns. There's like a dusky pinky colour and a purple, and I'm not sure if I will need more yarn to get it to the length that I want. I finished both of the arms now, and the body is done to probably almost past the boobs. I do need a bit more length before it is a safe to work kind of cardigan, although I'm not going to be wearing it on its own, so it's not like it has to. Anyway, I want it to be a longer cardigan. I want it to be at least waist length, if not past my bum, so I do need a bit more length in it. I'm not sure if I will have enough yarn or if I need to buy any more, and the issue therein is if I do need to buy more yarn, from what I can see, the pink one isn't in stock anymore. So when I get to the point where I don't have any of that pink yarn left, and if it's still out of stock, then I will have to make a decision on what to do at that point. But I'm thinking what I will probably do is just make the rest of it the purple colour, because the purple is in stock. Hopefully it still will be then as well. Fingers crossed, I don't want to jinx myself now. But if I end up having to make it a shorter cardigan or having to have all purple at the bottom, that's a decision that future me will have to make. Hopefully Future me will not hate past me for not making a decision yet, but we shall see. So that's it for November. Thank you very much for joining me. If you do want to find me elsewhere, there's a link tree down below which will take you to a repository for all the other places where you can find me. And I hope you all have a lovely festive season, whatever you're doing, whoever you're spending it with. And I will see you at the end of the year, beginning of next year, depending on how busy my festive period gets. Bye.